Do you want to hear something completely insane? I've lost more than 500 pounds in my life, which means I lost a small moose. But that also means I've regained an entire moose. Because after losing and regaining the same 20 to 50 pounds for over 30 years, that adds up to moose. Needless to say, I have been through some things when it comes to weight loss. And sadly, at least 95% of those things were completely worthless since they led to a whole lot of struggle while losing, only to struggle even harder to keep it off. Since I don't want you to go through all of the useless crap that I went through, let's talk about what really works for weight loss and, more importantly, what you need to avoid. Because after 30 years of struggle, I finally made it to a point where I can easily maintain this body while eating 24 to 2,500 calories a day and only hitting the gym 3 days a week. So here's my 30 years of weight loss advice, all summed up in 12 minutes. First off, are you still devouring diet book after diet book just praying something will stick? Because after living that life for far too long, I can tell you that you don't need to dive deep into the latest diet fad only to waste the first 2 or 3 hours reading about some miracle program that the author wants to sell you. Because any book that spends the first 3 to 5 chapters bragging about his results with clients conveniently forgets to mention how 90% of his miracle cases regained everything back within a few years. And those strict meal plans the author wants you to follow, well, all of those meal plans are a complete waste of time and money. Because when you scan these plans, how often do you see foods that you'll actually eat? Or even know how to cook? Whenever you start a strict meal plan that's not based somewhat on your current eating habits with some healthy tweaks built in, you are far less likely to continue following that plan long term. And any plan that you can't follow forever isn't a plan that you should start in the first place. It took me the full 30 years to learn that one. But I get it. You just want to follow your strict plan long enough in order to lose the weight, and then you'll figure out how to keep it off once you hit your goal. No, you won't. Because if you don't enjoy what you eat while losing weight, then there is zero chance that you'll even stick with it long enough to reach your goal in the first place. Even if you think it's a plan that you can figure out long term, if you have to give up the foods that you love forever without exception, then don't do it, because life is just way too short. Like me. Back when I had over 100 pounds to lose, I was convinced that giving up bread, sweets, and pasta forever was the only way to do it. But I went from dropping all of the carbs that I love for over half of a decade only to regain everything I lost with that same strict diet. And the damage I did to my hormones from following extreme diet advice for too long, let's just say that it was not pretty. These days, I eat things with all of the carbs, like the spaghetti hoagie. Who knew you could slap spaghetti sauce on a garlic hoagie roll and still lose weight? But I eat this several times a week, and look, I still hit my goal. And I'm easily staying here while eating the food that I love. Plus, since I've followed all of the advice that you're learning in this video, I get to eat a lot more of the foods I love pretty much every day. But I can only do that because I've finally learned to have patience. Like the old me was so desperate to lose the weight as fast as I could. But decades of yo-yoing weight taught me that that doesn't work. Because struggling through diet hell just to lose 25 pounds by next month is never a sustainable plan. But feeling like an actual human while aiming to lose 5 pounds a month, well, that's what got me to where I am today. Sure, there's some people who live an extraordinarily unhealthy lifestyle, so maybe they have a lot to lose. Maybe those people can drop 25 pounds in a month and keep going. But those are some very rare exceptions. Plus, they are losing a ton of lean mass, which is the kind of weight that you don't want to lose. Because no matter your starting point, can you ever recall eating enough to cut 22,000 calories a week? That means you have to eat 3,000 calories less every day than you do now. Because that's how many calories that you'd have to cut in order to drop 25 pounds of fat in a month. So unless you're eating enough to cut 22,000 calories every single week, then it is impossible to lose 25 pounds of fat in a month. The math just doesn't add up. And I know where your little diet-obsessed mind just went. What about cardio? Because I bet that you are so sick of being fat that you're willing to sweat your butt off every single day until you burn off every last ounce of fat. But even if you are willing and able, don't do it. because that's also something that you'll have to commit to every day for the rest of your life, since your body eventually adapts to all of that misery. Which means while it might work at first, eventually you'll be running around that hamster wheel just so you don't regain everything you lost, and even that's a losing battle. Just ask anyone who's regained everything they lost after working themselves to exhaustion on The Biggest Loser. But that's not me saying that all cardio is bad and you should just sit on your butt, because weight loss still comes down to a calorie deficit, and sitting on the couch all day every day is no way to get into that calorie deficit. You just gotta figure out movement you enjoy and make sure your daily steps add up to somewhere between 7,000 to 10,000 steps at the end of the day. There's that enjoyment thing again. It's almost like you have to form habits that you actually like doing if you plan to stick with them. Because if you don't stick with the habits that help you lose weight, well, that's the easiest way to regain everything you lost. And more moderate movement throughout the day is a habit that you need to stick to if you want to reach your goal. Because more movement helps you ensure that your body doesn't adapt too much whenever you drop calories in order to lose weight. And maybe you won't enjoy everything you do, but getting off your butt and cleaning the clutter from all of the spots that it stacks up also declutters your mind, which makes it way easier to focus on other goals. So aim for more movement to boost your efforts, but also keep in mind that 90% of your fat loss results still comes from eating less. But wait, does that mean that you should eat 1,200 calories a day in order to get that to budge? Nope. Cutting calories by up to 50% at the start of your diet isn't the answer either, because drastic calorie cuts only work for a little while before your body adapts. So sure, that scale drops quickly at the beginning.
Oh, look at those low rates.
But in this case, look at all of that water that you just peed out. But with drastic calorie cuts, all you're doing is pushing your body into a weight loss stall even faster. But now you've also dropped your metabolism to a point where you can't really do anything about it, except regain everything you lost even faster than you lost it. Which means you have to take time to track what you eat and then figure out how to drop 300 to 500 calories a day in order to put yourself into a moderate calorie deficit. Yes, you can and should figure out your calorie budget with a macro calculator, but also keep in mind that this is just an estimate based on other people with your same stats. But if you stick to these numbers and don't get results, is it because you magically defy the laws of thermodynamics? Nope. All that means is your metabolism is either slower than estimated, so you gotta do things to speed it up, or you are eating way more than you think. Because whenever you eat out, or you don't take time to properly measure your food, or maybe you do measure, but you are still eating far too many processed foods, well, in all of these scenarios, you are eating way more than you think. And those extra calories can add up enough to destroy all of the days that you actually are in a calorie deficit. While you do have to eat foods that you enjoy, you also have to make choices that fill you up on less calories. That's why you should aim for at least 80% of real food each day. And some of those foods also have to be high in protein because that's what's going to keep you full. Plus, more protein helps you build and maintain muscle. But you also have to be able to digest what you eat. Because if you increase protein but then get raging heartburn or painful constipation every single time you eat, then that's not a plan that you'll stick to for very long. Also figure out an exercise program that is appropriate for your skill level and body. While building and maintaining lean muscle is important, you won't stick with that plan if you go too hard too soon. If you're not sure where to start, the personal trainers at Trainwell are invaluable. They'll help you figure out a plan that's perfect for you and also give you a free 2-week trial to make sure that personal trainer is a good fit. Also, you gotta stop following anyone who swears that their diet is the be-all end-all of weight loss, because it's not. And following any of these plans for too long can screw up your hormones so badly that it requires several years plus thousands of dollars to get them back into balance enough just to feel like a human. And let's not forget about sleep and stress, because getting adequate sleep while finding more ways to reduce stress is way more important than you think. If your stress rages out of control and your sleep is crap, that means your body can't recover from all of the added stress you're putting on it when you try to lose weight. But also, when it comes to a more cohesive fat loss plan, supplements are never the answer. At least not at the beginning. While some supplements can be helpful for an extra push, most fat burners and other expensive must-have supplements are a complete waste of money, especially if you don't already have all of this other stuff dialed in. The exception of this are digestive supplements if your digestion isn't up to par, because you need to work on that while losing weight since digestion can take some time to improve. You also need to keep in mind that the scale is a liar, but it is a liar that I step on every single day because that liar keeps me on track. Mostly because I know that number will shoot up every time I have a meal out or have a day where I find myself falling back into old habits. And while it's important to spend quality time with friends and family, eating out too often is the fastest way to make zero progress. Even on days I do choose to eat out, knowing that I have to step on the scale the next morning helps me make better choices. That way, I don't watch in horror as the scale shoots up overnight. Finally, a consistent weight loss plan requires way more patience than you think. Like the kind of patience you'd need if you had to watch your favorite show with a dial-up modem. I mean, can you even imagine? Even though it's fun hearing
"You've got mail"
those first few times, who else wanted to throw their computer out the window the 483rd time that you heard that? Especially after waiting 20 minutes just to get connected. And then you get knocked off 3 minutes later because your brother had to use the phone. But the truth is, fat loss can be even slower and more frustrating than dial-up internet, especially when you do it the right way. And even though some days your progress might make you want to hunt down Elwood Edwards and punch him in the face, if you want to keep off what you lose, it is so important that you lose weight the right way. Wait, who's Elwood Edwards? Oh, it's the You've Got Mail voice guy. Also, don't follow any diet that makes you want to punch some random internet guy in the face, because you'd probably go to jail and the jail food diet just doesn't sound that great. But back to losing weight the right way. What does that even mean? In the end, hitting your fat loss goal comes down to 4 key habits, which are supported by all of these other habits sprinkled in. And I track all of these habits in my daily goal tracker that I've maintained for over 2 years. Want to know what else I've maintained for over 2 years? A healthy weight. Because here's the truth. Even once you reach your goal, the process doesn't just magically end. You still gotta maintain all of the habits that you established while losing weight if you want to keep it off. So if you want to learn the 4-step system that helps me lose while also maintaining without any struggle,
I step up to the mic, gonna make it swing. Feel the rhythm in your bones, let the music sing.